What's up guys, JP back at you once again, bringing you guys another video. So today's video is actually an announcement for this year's 31 Days of Horror. I haven't done an announcement video for this series in like 7 or 8 years. I used to do them to like say, hey, I'm doing 31 Days of Horror, back when I was like more interested in YouTube and put like more time into it. Years have passed and I really don't feel the passion for YouTube anymore. I feel like the community kind of died off, or at least the community I was part of. I'm sure there's still a big YouTube community out there, but I'm not really part of it anymore. I like making YouTube videos, I just don't really feel the passion to like grow my channel anymore. Probably because I started podcasting and that became my main focus, and the podcast has grown, you know, pretty big, considering I never thought it would be as big as it is. But, you know, it's pretty healthy sized podcast for horror. It's not like tier 1 or anything, but we do well. So that's really where my main time, energy, and focus goes to in terms of content creation. But there's still a little soft spot for YouTube. It's where I started 10 or 11 years ago at this point. I think I started in around 2011 or 12, 2010. I really can't remember. I know my first 31 Days of Horror was 10 years ago, I believe. This will be the 10th year, so had to be over 10 years. But don't watch those old videos. Those old videos cringe. I'm pretty sure that dude in those videos was on drugs. I'm almost certain, because Jesus, they cringe me out, but I don't delete them because it shows how much I've grown. And my videos are still not great, but, you know, I think they're better than they were. Anyway, this year is different because I kind of want to get you guys involved a little bit. I posted a poll and I asked, you know, what do you want me to do this year? It's the 10th year. I've been doing like sort of themes the last couple of years. I did the one with the Universal monster films. Back in 2016, I did all 2016 films. Then there was a year where I did all like first time watches, and then I did a year where I did, I think last year was all new watches, like in terms of stuff that was sealed that I haven't watched yet. So this year I wanted to do something like that, but not the same exact thing. So I decided this year I was going to do maybe all Vinegar Syndrome or all Scream Factory, which is something I wanted to do for a really long time. I think my funnest year I had with this was when I did all of the Universal monster films, just because I hadn't seen like any of those besides like the main 4 or 5, and it was fun to watch all those sequels, and it was fun to watch older movies in general. So I try to squeeze in some older films every year, because this is like the video part is cool and stuff, but really like the fun part of the 31 Days of Horror is to watch all the movies. So that's the best part. So I try to do stuff that I normally wouldn't have time to do, like older films and things like that, and just stuff that I haven't opened yet. So I thought about doing a all Vinegar Syndrome, and then I was like, maybe I do all Scream Factory, because I have a ton of Scream Factories that are still sealed that I haven't opened yet. And then I put a poll up, which I realized you could do on YouTube. And actually some people voted, which surprised me. I didn't expect to get really any votes. And it seems like people were leaning more towards the all Scream Factory, but most of the people leaned towards a different company every couple days. And I think that's a good idea, actually. It highlights the niche companies, and it got me thinking like how to do it, you know, because you could do every 7 days you do company, but then that last week there's like a week with 3, and that's no fun. Somebody gets really shortchanged. Then I thought, okay, well, you could do 5 weeks of 6, which is almost a week. It's almost 7 days. But I was like, I don't know, maybe it would be better to do 6 companies, 5 films each, if that makes sense. And then one would have six, you know, films. So I think that's what I kind of am leaning towards, or sorry, 5 films for 6 companies. That way I could touch on 5 different companies, and it still feels like they're getting a good amount of titles per company. So that's sort of where I'm leaning. But then I was like, which companies do I do? I could do Scream Factory and Arrow, those are the two big hitters, and then you have like the second tier companies like Vinegar Syndrome and Severin, and Kino. And then I also have like sort of a little bit more niche ones like Artsploitation. I have a bunch of Umbrella titles. Also Warner Archive, which I'm a big fan of and own a bunch of titles of. So that's where I'm kind of throwing it to you guys. Like, what do you want to see? So far, what I'm leaning towards, and these don't have to be the choices, but it's just sort of what I'm leaning towards, is Scream Factory, because I literally have like 100 Scream Factory titles that I haven't opened yet. So it would be really cool to knock out even 5 of those. Arrow Video, which I actually don't have that many Arrows that are still sealed. Like, most of my Arrow horror titles I have watched. Have my collection separated right now between watched and unwatched over there. So I don't have as many Arrow, but I definitely have a handful, and definitely enough for 5. I have a lot more non-horror stuff that are sealed, but I have enough to do Arrow. And then also Vinegar Syndrome, because I have a lot of those, and right now Vinegar Syndrome is probably my favorite company releasing things. I just think they've been doing a really fun job. I definitely had enough to do 31 plus days. So Vinegar Syndrome will actually be hard to limit to 5. I would probably maybe do 6 for Vinegar Syndrome, have that at the end, and maybe do like, 5 for the other ones. So those 3, and then the other 3 I was thinking about is Kino, because I really haven't watched a lot of Kino titles in general. I actually only owned 2 for a really long time, and recently I started picking them up. So Kino would be one. There's a lot of fun movies in there that I wanted to check out. So that's 4. 5 would be Severin. And Severin is a company that is actually climbing on my favorite companies. They've released a lot of awesome stuff from Italian horror to like weird stuff I've never seen, to like even like kids type films like the Peanut Butter Solution and things like that. So that's one that I was considering as well. And then the 6th one would have been Warner Archive, because I did a lot of those last year and I had fun with them. Like I even maybe like the last 2 years I reviewed a couple of Warner Archives in there, and I have a lot of fun with that company, and I still have like a handful that I haven't watched yet, well over 5. So that would be fun to sort of pick through those. And when you kind of look at all those companies, like Warner Archive, I have a handful of like older films, like monster movies and stuff like that. I think would be fun to throw in there. Kino, I have like some TV movies and things that would be fun to do, because I like doing TV movies as well. Scream Factory, you got like a lot of the classics, different popular horror films. Like definitely they've released like the more popular stuff. And then Vinegar Syndrome, you got like some obscure things and very, very weird stuff. Like that one year I did like Blood Harvest, which was really weird movie with Tiny Tim and stuff. So you got more obscure stuff there. Same thing kind of goes with Severin, and Arrow's kind of like a companion to Scream Factory. But they've been getting into the 4K game recently, so maybe I would touch up on some 4Ks in there, throw some 4Ks in. So that's sort of my thought process. But I also have like Blue Underground. I have some Synapse. I don't really have a ton that I haven't watched, so that might be hard. Umbrellas that I haven't watched. I haven't really gotten any Umbrellas in a really long time. There's Vestron, but I kind of didn't really want to do those in case I wanted to cover them on the Vestron podcast, which I still could, but I kind of not doing those. But they've been releasing titles again recently, so really what I'm asking is, like, what do you guys want? Like, would you be cool with the ones I named, or would you rather me do some Blue Undergrounds? They've been getting into the 4K game too. Maybe drop Severin and put in Blue Underground, or drop Kino and put in Blue Underground. It's up to you guys, and we'll decide. And then the other thing that I wanted to say was to recommend me titles, because honestly, like Scream Factory, if you recommend some titles, like I probably have like a good bit of them. And same thing with like Severin, like I have a lot of the newer Severins. Vinegar Syndrome, I have a lot of the newer Vinegar Syndromes, but I do have a lot in general, so That could be something. If you guys like, hey, if you suggest the title that you might want me to cover, and if I have it, I might throw it in there, you know. Like the Vinegar Syndrome set that's been staring at me is that damn Television Terror set. I kind of want to get into that. And then there's, you know, a lot of like I have a lot of stuff. So, I mean, if you want to suggest stuff specifically, like, I might get to it, you know, I might throw it in there. I was thinking about even randomizing the titles, and that would be fun. But it really is going to be fun regardless. That's sort of what this is all about. And I have a blast doing the 31 Days of Horror. So that's sort of what I was thinking this year, you know, 10th annual. And I don't know if I'll continue to do these after 10, you know. I was always kind of like, I want to do 10. That would be fun, you know, 10 of them. But, you know, I mean, I do enjoy doing it, so I could do it past 10. I don't know. But I really, really want, because I barely ever succeed with these. Like, I've done 31 for every year. Like, every year I've finished them, but like certain years I finished the next year. I've only completed successfully within the 31 days twice. It was last year, and then it was like 2018 or something like that was the other one. So I would love to do back-to-back full 31 days. So that's my game plan. That's my goal. We'll see if we do it. I'm pretty confident. I'm starting a little bit earlier preparing this year, so that should help out. So anyway, that's pretty much it, guys. Let me know if you want something specific, or if you guys are cool with just whatever. Suggest stuff, don't suggest stuff, and we'll see how it goes. So thank you for watching. I'll check you guys out next time. Peace out.